not that long ago. Philly's still hanging on for dear life, first place in the NFC East. Here's Doug Peterson after the game.
Doug, did you at any point in this game consider pulling Carson for Jalen? And is there a point at which you would consider that?
You know, with the way the game was going and the elements, and we were just, really a score from putting ourselves back into this football game, I did not consider that.
Hey, Doug, is Carson Wentz going to start next week?
Yes.
No question about it? No question okay. About it.
Yeah, no questions about it. He's our starter.
I don't know. There's so many ways to interpret that. Looking how long this is going to last, what time it is, timing the press conference. I don't know. A little bit of a pregnant pause before the yes. So many things going on here. Brian, you think your Eagles should consider benching Carson Wentz for Hurts? We seem to be going in one direction here.
Well, here's a question. Are you going to bring Carson Wentz back? He signed a long-term contract in 2019, almost a little over a year ago. And if you're going to plan on bringing him back, you can't bench him. You just can't. You got to allow him to try to figure things out. You got to allow him to try to play through it. But if you're telling me next year that Carson Wentz is going to be out of there, you have a way to get out of that contract, which I think is going to be almost impossible to do, and that Jalen Hurts is going to be your guy, then of course you take him out, because at this point, the only reason that you don't bench Carson Wentz is a contract, and then you don't necessarily know there's an unknown with the rookie quarterback. So the other part is this. It can't get any worse. It can't get any worse than what Carson Wentz is doing. The only thing that Jalen Hurts can do, run around a little bit and throw interceptions, and if he does that, that's almost the same thing that Carson Wentz is doing at this point. So, you're hamstrung by you're hamstrung by the contract. That's the biggest issue right there in Philadelphia.
Yeah, you're right, B. I mean, if you're moving on from this guy, then you can consider it. But should you really do it? Because now you're going to mess up your leverage going into the offseason, the trade value for Carson Wentz, because now every team is going to know that you want to move on. But then you got to also ask yourself this question, Jalen Hurts, is this really what we want to put this kid into? Like, can this kid really thrive in this situation? No offensive line, no wide receivers. Alshon Jeffrey just got back, and he looks like he's still getting into the rhythm of the game and his feet underneath him. So that's the first question I'm asking. Am I setting up this kid for success? And I would absolutely not put him in this type of situation. No offensive line. Guys are banged up every single week, in and out of the lineup, and you have nobody to catch the ball for you right now. So if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, I just ride this out. And I also go into the offseason with the open mind, but really leaning towards bringing Carson Wentz back, because he is a premier quarterback in this league. He needs to clean up his feet work. He also needs to clean up his decision-making, but those are things that could be corrected in a healthy offseason, going into the preseason with the right coaching and the right team around him.
So, Brian, I've got two facts and one theory to run by you. Fact number one, statistically speaking, Carson Wentz has been the worst quarterback in the NFL this year. There's no way around it. 14 picks, 10 fumbles, 4 lost, a total disaster. Fact number two, I dug into his contract before the show. It is impossible to move him this offseason. Next year, his cap hit is $35 million. You know what it is if they cut him? $60 million of dead money. It's almost impossible to move on from him the following year. In 2022, it's $25 million of dead money. They kept his cap charge super low early, and he has to be the guy next year, which is why they can't even consider benching him, because he's going to be on the roster with a $35 million cap hit next year. The theory is this. A lot of people, when they think of Carson Wentz, they think of Nick Foles. They think of the playoff run with the Eagles. What about a different Nick Foles year with the Eagles? You remember 2014, Nick Foles played 13 games, had 27 touchdowns, 2 picks, and it is just the total aberration of his entire career, those magical 13 games. What if the same is true with Wentz? 2018, 13 games, was going to be league MVP. Oh, my God. And now you look at him. Are we going to look back on the career and say, just like Nick Foles, the guy put it all together for 3.5 months of football, But that is the only stretch of his entire career that looks anything like that. For Foles, we now know that's the case. If you're an Eagles fan, and I know you are, you have to at least be a little concerned that that is going to be the case with Wentz.
You know, Nick, I'm not talking about a little concern. I'm very concerned as an Eagles fan. Is Carson Wentz able to rebound from such a terrible season? Here's the question, and Brandon brought it up. Bringing him back in the offseason, making him better, coach him up a little bit differently. The question is, who is going to be that guy that's going to hold him accountable? Who's going to be the guy that's going to coach him up a little bit differently? Because at this point, we've seen Carson Wentz regress worse and worse and worse as the season has gone on. Who is that guy that's going to step up and now say, you know what, Carson, now it's the offseason. We're going to make you get better. We haven't seen that guy show up in Philadelphia, and that's why Carson Wentz continues to get worse.
Brian Westbrook, as always, thank you so much. I got a question for the panel. Is Patrick Mahomes now all alone at the top of the MVP race after last night's game-winning drive? Talk about it next. First things first.
Sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Welcome back. Time now for a little four things first. Brandon, you're up, buddy. You love Sean Payton's timely retweet.
Yes, oh my goodness. Taysom Hill had a good game, proving a lot of people wrong. Even our buddy Nick Wright, although he probably won't admit it. But come on, Nick, you know he had a really good game. Look, another person that proved a lot of doubters wrong was Coach Sean Payton. Sean Payton, we need more of this from our NFL coaches. Look, retweeting Roddy White's trash talk before the game. So after the game, he took to Twitter and he said, you know what? I'm not going to retweet Nick. I'm going to retweet Roddy. All these doubters, I did this for you. Great job, Sean Payton.
Strong game from Andy Dalton. Cowboys win, 203 passing yards. 3 touchdowns. Good passer rating. He ran the ball a little bit. Reception yards, -3, which also hurt his passing yards. Look, I think sometimes you got to look in the mirror and say, how can I be better? And if you're going to catch the ball, you got to get that yards after catch up. Help your own quarterback, who is yourself. So you got to look to help yourself first. Catch the ball, take off. It's a good catch, don't get me wrong, but it did end up hurting your passing yardage total.
You know what's better than 4 rings? 5 rings, which is nice because that's what LeBron's about to have. Center was a weakness for the Lakers last year. So how about you add Montrezl Harrell from the fraudulent Clippers? How about you add Marc Gasol just for the hell of it? Hey, KCP, is he coming back? Yep. Danny Green, he's gone. Dennis Schroeder's in there. So let's replace him with a younger version of Danny Green and Wesley Matthews. You look around the West and it's like, oh, wait, the Nuggets lost Jeremy Grant. The Clippers lost Harrell, didn't make any major changes aside from adding Ibaka. The Jazz, nothing significant. The Warriors, unfortunately, lost Clay. And then there's the team that was already better than all of them that just got markedly better. So props to Rob Pelinka, props to the Lakers. Really did. And we're officially on Ring 6 watch because Ring 5 is coming. More on this story tomorrow.
Oh, gosh, stop.
Let's stay with the NBA. I love Donovan Mitchell. So fun to watch. Young, bright, awesome star. You know who agrees with me? The Utah Jazz. They gave him a 5-year, $195 million contract extension. My only issue with Donovan is such a smart player on the court. I don't understand the way he celebrated. He posted this to Instagram yesterday. I got 3 issues with it. Takes off his shirt, leaves on his socks. I would think it might be the other way around. He's got a deep end, but somehow tries to almost dive into the shallow end. That's not a heady play. Not a heady play. Number 3, look how quickly he tries to get out. You're in. Let the cameras roll. Celebrate, my friend. Nope, he's already too cold, too cold. I'm coming out. Not a great idea. What is a great idea? We get to see more Donovan Mitchell in Utah when the NBA season starts.
Nice guest house.
So that is exciting.
Nice little guest house out back. I see you, Donovan.
He should have gotten to his big pool, not his guest pool. All right, back to NFL Sunday now. For that, we head to Indianapolis. America's game of the week, living up to its billing. Packers, Colts. Packers up 14 at the half, but stalled in the second half big time. Phillip Rivers rallying the Colts to force overtime, but that costly fumble doomed the Packers, setting up a Colts field goal to win. Indy now improves to 7-3. Packers with the loss now fall to 7-3. Brian Westbrook back with us now. Brian, was this game more about the Colts win or the Packers loss?
You know, it was a great win by the Colts, but to me, it was much more about the Packers defense in the loss and how they performed. And when you talk about beating